Today, we're going to talk about something you use every single day, probably without even thinking twice about it. We're diving into the incredible power of geographic data and how understanding the simple question of where is quite literally shaping our world. I mean, think about it. Are you looking to move? You're probably checking out school ratings, commute times, property values. Planning a trip? You're mapping your route, finding spots to see along the way. Even just checking the weather, all of these things have one massive thing in common. You see, every time you do that, you're not just glancing at a map. You are tapping into something called spatial intelligence. It's this powerful engine humming along behind the scenes of almost everything we do in modern life. So, what on earth is it? Well, at its heart, geographic data is actually pretty simple. It's all about connecting two fundamental questions. First, where is something? That's your dot on the map. But then, and this is the important part, it also answers what is at that location. That what could be anything. Population density, traffic patterns, the star rating of a restaurant. It's that link between the where and the what that unlocks all the power. And this really gets us to the ultimate goal of all of this. The whole reason we collect and analyze this data is to figure out the why of where. Why is this particular neighborhood seeing so much growth? Why is the specific coastline so vulnerable to erosion? Why is this the perfect place to build a new business? Answering that why is how we start making smarter decisions. All right, so to really get a handle on this, let's start small. Let's start at the most personal level imaginable, with the data that's literally living in your pocket right now. You really do use this constantly. When you're house hunting, you're not just looking at pictures, you're using data platforms to analyze crime rates and school quality. When you pop an address into your GPS, it's using real-time traffic data to find you the fastest route. And for safety, maybe you've checked if a house is in a flood zone, or you use an app to get an alert that your kid made it home from school okay. It's personal, it's practical, and it is happening all the time. Okay, now let's zoom out, because the very same type of data you use to pick a coffee shop is also being used by governments to make huge decisions that affect millions of us. So, what's a massive nationwide data collection project that happens every 10 years in the United States? You guessed it, the U.S. Census. And it's one of the best examples of how geographic data gets put to work in public policy. And this count has two enormous consequences. First up, it's about money. Billions of federal dollars for things like roads, schools, and hospitals are handed out based on these population numbers. Basically, more people means more funding for your community. But second, it's about power. The census decides how many representatives each state gets in Congress. As populations shift around the country, so does political influence. This is so much more than just counting people. It's drawing the map of the country's future. And in an emergency, this data becomes a literal lifesaver. Think about it. When a hurricane is forming, officials aren't just guessing. They're using satellite imagery to track its exact path. From there, they create detailed risk maps showing which neighborhoods are the most vulnerable. That info allows them to issue targeted evacuation orders, and finally, to send emergency crews and resources exactly where they're going to be needed most. This is data in action, saving lives. Now, let's zoom out one last time to the world of business, because for major corporations, geographic data isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a billion-dollar asset. You know, big companies follow a very specific data-driven playbook when they decide where to build. They start by analyzing demographics to figure out where their target customers live. Then they'll map things like traffic patterns to make sure the location is visible and easy to get to. All of this helps them pinpoint the optimal spot to maximize their profit. It's an absolute science. Here's a perfect example you've probably seen. Ever notice a whole cluster of Chick-fil-A's popping up in a new, fast-growing suburb? Yeah, that is not a coincidence. That company is famous for using a super sophisticated mix of geographic data, looking at population growth, traffic counts, income levels, even where competitors are, to find those perfect high-growth spots. It's a strategic decision, all powered by the why of where. So we've seen how this data is used by us, by our governments, by businesses. But what happens after the decision is made? Well, the truth is, every single one of these choices, big or small, creates a ripple effect. So a decision to build a new highway based on solid traffic data might seem great. It solves a major commute problem. But that same road could cut right through a critical wetland, changing an ecosystem forever and displacing wildlife. And when cities use geographic data to draw zoning lines on a map, they're deciding way more than just what can be built where. Those lines can end up determining who gets access to the best schools, who lives near parks and grocery stores, and they can shape the social fabric of a community for generations to come. On the flip side, a data-driven choice to invest in new infrastructure, say a new port or high-speed rail line, can create thousands of jobs, attract a flood of new businesses, and completely revitalize an entire regional economy. And this stuff doesn't stop at the border. On a global scale, how countries use geographic data to draw borders, manage shared resources like rivers, or respond to international disasters can literally define political alliances and even create tension between nations. And this is where you can see just how interconnected it all really is. An economic decision has social and environmental side effects. A political choice has huge economic ones. They're not separate boxes. They're all threads in this incredibly complex web. When you pull on one, all the others move too. The why of where has consequences absolutely everywhere. So from your daily commute all the way up to the balance of global power, geographic data is quietly shaping our reality. And as this technology gets more and more powerful, more precise, it leaves us with a really important question. Who gets to wield this power? Who gets to draw the lines on the map that define our lives, our communities, and ultimately our future?